welcome back to the SPL Season 9 Kickoff LAN. My name is Gormizer over there. You can see him right now. It's going to be Mifflin. Miff, we're jumping into the last set of the day. It's going to be the Titans taking on the Warriors. I almost said Scarabs because of a conversation we were just having, and I almost goofed myself up, but we kept things on track here. It's going to be a fun one that I'm excited to. Again, hey, remember, it's Smite's birthday month. It went away from me. I want to show off my... Oh, wait, you can kind of see it. There it is. It's got a little bow on there. This is I have like 6 of these, dude. I want to show them off as much as I possibly can.
I brought for show and tell this tinsel.
Yeah.
This is what I brought.
Chat, vote now.
No, don't vote.
Who do you like more?
No, stop. Who do you
Handy
like
dandy
more?
notebook. No, not who do you like more. Wait, okay, yeah, which one do you like more?
No, don't do that. I'm going to lose.
Mifflin's tinsel that he picked up that was already here, or
Whoa.
my handy dandy notebook that I spent money on.
I spent money on this.
Someone did, for sure. You, maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe you didn't buy that.
No, I did.
Oh,
I was there.
Well, then I also did.
Okay. Either way, it's going to be a fun one to watch these two teams as they go up against each other. Again, the Titans, second place there at Worlds, make one swap coming into this year. The Warriors having to fight back to earn their spots. Just a few weeks ago, if you were watching when we did the SPL kickoff, actually it's about a month ago now, the SPL play-in LAN that came through. Winner of this goes up against the Scarabs tomorrow in a best of 5 for the semis. And then, of course, so on and so forth to try and get to the finals, or in that third, fourth place match, as tomorrow will dictate. But Mifflin, this one could be pretty spicy. The Warriors coming back, looking fresh, in the sense that they had to fight for their spot back and probably have that fire burning behind them. And the Titans, with at least a new solo laner coming into this, it's going to be an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, a good heat check for both of these teams. The only Warriors on the precipice of not making it back into the league, and the Tartarus Titans, second overall for the entirety of Season 8. I'm expecting this one to be a little bit more in line with the first couple of sets today. That last one, I don't think indicative of what we're going to see here.
Yeah, sets 1, 2, and probably 4
going
to match up right in there. Set 3, there was a lot of kills, and that's the compliment we'll give it.
It was a lot.
I also think is worth mentioning, 33% off gems right now. I didn't mention that when we were talking about it.
That's good stuff.
Everyone who votes for either of us, you get 33% off your gyms right here, telling you right now.
That's awesome. I was like, where are you going with this? I was like, okay.
Yeah. Either way, we can look in at the Titans and, of course, what we expect from this team. Again, you mentioned their run at Worlds. They look pretty good throughout a lot of Worlds.
They did.
Maybe not quite as much at the very, very end of it, but the rest of it looked really solid. Now they've got SolarTroll, who's going to be filling in for Benji. How do you feel about this swap?
I feel like SolarTroll, and I went on record last year saying that I think he is probably one of the most, if not legitimately just the most mechanical player in the league.
Yeah.
Some of the things that he does just by pressing buttons and moving his mouse is just incredibly impressive. Dude does not miss often. He's always finding his way into the back line. He is always getting involved one way or another, and he was always at least holding his own or dominating a lane. And I think as far as how well is he going to fit in with this team, I think it's going to be just fine. I'm assuming solo lane probably the most plug-and-play role in the entirety of Smite, because for the most part you are operating alone on an island. At least that's the case back in Season 8. And just speaking from having had the opportunity to speak with both SOT and Benji throughout years of past, both kind of a little bit on the quiet side, both a little bit more reserved, just really there to play, and that's all they're there to do. I think that this is going to be a smooth transition for the Tartarus Titans.
I also think worth mentioning, went pretty high up. This, maybe spoiler alerts, we're doing, instead of like predictions over the next, at least for the first phase.
Oh no, so that is spoilers.
We're doing a little fantasy draft, and Saw got picked up pretty high up there because he performs pretty well a lot of the time. So it'll be fun to watch, especially because he's got some history with the players on the team. It's going to be fun to watch how they link together. And as you said, something that can be plug and play. Of course, with Obelisk, we have a lot more focus on the left side of the lane as opposed to the solo side. So maybe he's going to have a little more free reign. And Mifflin, that feels like it's worse news for every lane opponent he could have as opposed to him. I think he's going to be able to flourish in that, knowing that he's going to have some free reign.
Yeah, and I've been watching Sot for a couple of years, and he's been playing since the original 2-1-2 meta, and we've seen a little bit more of that recently. I think that's something where he can start to flourish as well, get his impact on the map a little bit earlier on. So I have got high expectations for Sot this year. I think most people do. He's gone up. I'm not going crazy by saying this. He's gone up a couple of tiers in just the team department, right? The Tartarus Titans second overall. He's been
Just intrinsically, it was second versus like a third, fourth, right?
Yeah,
In Worlds,
so
like numerically, yes.
it's gonna, I gotta soften the blow, right? Because they're fans for all teams, but not crazy to say that I think SOT is probably going to place better this year as well.
Well, and you have to look at it like this game, these highlights might be the best example because these were ones that were like won because of SOT, right? Like there were maybe some conversations about other players, but like there were some games where it was like, man, nobody else was doing anything. He just kind of did the whole thing for him. And sometimes that's what you need. Luckily, the Titans have a lot of big names. We're going to be talking to SolarTroll here for the pregame interview. And it's almost weird to look over and see you in a Titans jersey. It's going to take a little bit of getting used to.
Yeah.
How's it feel being on the Titans, man?
It feels amazing, honestly. It feels great to be back with Aurora and Cyclone. We had a very good Spice year, so
yeah.
I think we'll have another great Titans year, for sure.
And this is like something that you're going to look at because you have the experience playing with a few of these guys. Do you think that there's going to be any like major challenges that you're going to have to like overcome throughout the year?
Not really. Nothing comes to mind. Not really.
You're feeling pretty confident.
Yeah,
I'm actually really happy to hear that. That's good to hear because I think Aurora had mentioned like maybe not as much practice for you guys coming into like today specifically.
Yeah, not like a ton because we had me and Paul were like I was in West Coast and he was in Canada. So and Cyclone also was in West Coast for a bit. So we had really high ping and really bad FPS for a while. So we didn't get the best practice, but I think this is a good tournament just to get a few games in. Like, kind of like free SPL games. It's like better than scrims in a way.
It's like scrims plus,
yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
a little bit better, a tier up.
Pretty much, yeah.
Things are really interesting, I think, for your lane, but for a different reason than normal. Normally, it's like this discussion of like, okay, here's the stuff that's popping off in solo lane. Here are the new meta picks. Now it's kind of like, well, everyone's focused on the left side of the map.
Yeah.
Has that like freed you up a little bit more, or do you feel like restricted because all the fighting's happening elsewhere?
Yeah, I'd say it freed me up a little bit. I think I'm really good at like solo farming and then rotating to team fights. I think I've worked on.
We saw.
Yeah, toward the end of last year, I worked on my rotations a lot because I actually got out-rotated really badly a lot in scrims, and so I had to like focus on actually like keeping up with the other solo laner like rotations wise.
Yeah.
And so I think I've gotten pretty good at that.
No, it's going to be fun to watch. I'm sure everybody on your team, it seems like, are really excited to play today, and I'm sure you are as well. So good luck in your games, man. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
It's going to be fun to watch, Mifflin. We've got, I think, a treat in store for us here because I'm excited, again, based on the way they're looking at it. Free SPL games, you can come in.
Great mentality.
And I love that because it's like, hey, we're going to, like, it is an SPL game, but
we might
know
be biased,
that
though.
it's like not playing towards phase 1, it's not playing towards phase 2. It's something that they get to kind of encapsulate it, and it really is just scrims plus. Like, it's just slightly better than that. It's a good environment. Plus, for some of these guys, this is not the best example because every single one of them, but at least somebody this week
one person at least
has played on LAN for the first time. So there's that.
There is that. No, there is a lot of value in playing on LAN because you get to get an environment of, oh, when games matter, this is what the matches are going to feel like. This is great practice. It is the best practice that you could ever hope for. And then you also get like the bird's eye view, thanks to Doug, so you can even use that for VOD review as well. Every time, me personally speaking from my own competitive career, we would do VOD review or we would try and do scrim review or something like that. It was, can we just like watch back an SPL match? Because that is the most close to what actual high-stakes games are, and you get the most data for that. So rightfully so, great mentality from the Tartarus Titans.
Of course, they're going to be going up against this team. Not Oni Homies. That was what they had to go by while they were trying to re-earn their moniker. This is the Oni Warriors, who fought through Mifflin, that SPL qualifier bracket. It was a double elim. They had some troubles throughout it, and this is the team that gave them the most. You're now current Valhalla Valkyries giving them a run for their money. And this is a different topic because you're talking about a team in the Titans that just got second. And then in the Warriors, you're talking about a team that maybe has more competitive experience technically this year because they played in Season 9 already, but had to fight for their spot back.
Yeah, I am really curious to hear from whoever it is that we interview whether or not they think this was something that could like build bad habits, right? Because I think there is a clear distinction between ranked play to mid-level competitive play, SOC, SEC, and then all the way back up to the SPL. You have to address those matches differently. You have to play at least around what your opposition is doing. So the Oni Warriors, having had to play against all these SEC teams, adapt to their style of play, figure out how they need to address that, could have potentially built up some bad habits for SPL caliber play. That said, I'm sure the only Warriors are going to be just fine. These guys are completely tenured. They have been around the scene for an incredibly long time, playing at the highest level that there possibly could be. So I have faith that even if they did pick up a couple bad habits, it probably was rectified within scrims before this point. But I am very excited to hear from whoever it is.
Nika got a pentakill that tournament. I
He
don't know if
did.
you remember that.
He did.
I kind of forgot until just now. Like, I mean, it looked really good for them. They've been playing. They played well. Well, like you said, we'll have to see how they show up today. In fact, we'll just ask Neil how they. Well, at least how you think you're going to show up today. I guess we'll find out how well you show up in game. Realistically, the first question is just like, you guys earned your spot back. How's it feel to actually be here again?
Oh, definitely great. I mean, I feel like we all felt we deserved to be here to begin with. And just being able to prove that and showed everyone that we do belong here is definitely a good feeling, yeah. So.
And that was a conversation that was happening a lot over the last couple of years. I mean, you got a couple of world champions from the 6th place position, but last year it was a little shakier for you. Do you guys have any changes in mind that you're going into this year with to try and be a little higher in the rankings?
I think just a better mentality. I think it's just hard to play a full year when you have a disadvantage and then come in and have a month or less to practice and then go into Worlds when other teams have had a full year more or less to just evolve, and just work on problems. So we definitely had issues last year, but we just felt like we just didn't have much time to improve on them. So now we think it was just a longer period of time to actually get used to each other.
Yeah.
Because remember, three of my teammates play on a different team, me and Fred on your team, so we have a lot of meshing still to do. So just a long year ahead of us, and I think we're just ready to grind and working on everything.
I'm really excited to be able to see it because, like you said, this is going to be the year that everyone's like, you're sitting in the booth together, you're going to be talking to each other. It's going to be a lot easier. Like, when you look to your left now, vote's actually going to be there as opposed to like, yeah, you're in Discord. Oh, yeah, okay, Discord. We just yell, whatever. This is going to be, I think, even more important. Again, I had mentioned this to pretty much everyone I've asked today, but like with the Obelisk coming in, granted, at the beginning of Season 9 and the last tournament you played in, it was maybe a lot more high priority than it is currently, but it shifted a lot of attention to your lane, and now that you and Vote are together, do you think that that's kind of helped you two get to mesh together? Do you think like the Obelisk is still very important? How's dual lane just feel now?
Dual lane definitely feels pressure oriented as it kind of always had, but there's a lot of outside influence, same as always too, right? If you have pressure, it's fantastic, but the jungler comes over, it can shut you down. So you just have to be on your toes, right? If you have a good lane, you can still easily lose if someone comes over and they're 3v2. So yeah, I think it does well for me and Liam. And I think the Obelisk is less important than it used to be, but I think generally speaking, just winning lane is always going to feel a lot better, right? So
like winning the game feels better than losing.
Absolutely, yeah. Agreed. Without a doubt.
But hey, no, I love it. I absolutely enjoyed this. And Neil, it's always fun to talk to you.
Thank you.
But you've got some games to play, so I'm going to let you get to that. Thanks for your time, man, and good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, scram.
Well, okay, I didn't say that.
Yeah, get out of here.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, get going.
He's such a nice dude.
Yeah, but he's
Also,
scrammable.
If I had to put money bets for like teams that we're going to get,
Well,
I'm not
you
going to actually put up money here. But if I had to,
Okay.
I would say that the Warriors, he's having trouble
He can't
opening
open
the door.
Mike, help him. He can't open the door.
That's what's funny to me. Either way,
He's
I would
actually
put
struggling still.
Money bets that
He's stuck. He gave up.
guys, I'm sorry. It's just so he's having so much trouble opening the door. It's really
Our stagehand is ignoring him.
unfortunate. Either way, I would say that the Warriors are going to get a sponsor for Neil's hair. He's going to get like a conditioner or a shampoo. You know what I mean? Like some L'Oreal on the jerseys. Look, I'm just saying, reach out.
He broke me.
If you want to talk to
He's
it.
still-
And he's broken Mifflin, so I don't even have anything to say that can draw Mifflin back into this. So I'll just keep going by myself for a little bit here.
Core, I'm with you, man. What do you need? He's still trying to open the door. Oh my god, he's gonna break the door.
I don't think he's gonna break the door.
There's a for frame of reference.
All right, Mike just pushed a button and the door opened, and Mike
There
has
is
collapsed
a
on the ground
massive
laughing.
button that says push to exit, and
Yes.
Neil never tried it.
This is what we like to call fantastic radio, because everything that was happening was entirely
All visual
based. It's even more fun when all you have is us describing to
I
you
laughed
what's
so
happening.
hard I'm sweating.
And unfortunately, I think the crane cam shut off, so it's not even like we could have pivoted over to watch Neil's struggles for a few minutes there. Oh, all right.
Okay, let's reset
How do
her.
we get back on rails for this one?
Whatever you
Hey,
wanna talk about.
Titans and Warriors. Wow, what a matchup.
Thanks, Score. Yeah, it is good to hear from both the Titans and the Oni Warriors now that they are treating this game as a point to prove themselves. Essentially scrims plus, right? So that means that we are going to get, hopefully, unless they were straight up lying, some more grooted.
Are you telling me that Nielsen Mawson would come in here and lie to my face?
He couldn't open a door. I'm saying it's not outside the realm of possibility.
He might not have actually been intending to lie, but maybe he did.
Yeah.
He couldn't open a door.
Oh, man. Oh, we lost it. I was getting there, and I lost it again.
I think you're on the right track, though, right?
Thank you.
These two teams are coming into this. They're treating it exactly the way they would if they were playing next week, the week after that, things like that. So they're approaching this the same way that we see most like Phase 1 SBLs.
Yes.
Not thinking about Worlds. Worlds, so much is going to change
over the horizon.
It's literally the entire game they're playing. Not the entire game. 30% of the game they're playing right now is going to be completely different by the time they actually hit that. Don't think about that. But honestly, by the time Phase 1 hits, who cares? It's Phase 1. Just go into this and play, and I like that they're approaching it with that mentality.
Yeah, and more so, you can still build tools and build rapport with your team up until that point. Even if the game is slightly different, every bit of practice you get, especially in this LAN environment, is so valuable going forward. And we got a chance to talk to Aurora before the set, and he said, "Yeah, we're taking it serious." And he said it in Aurora voice, like just really angry eyes. So I trust him, okay?
Yeah.
Even if Neil is lying, I trust Aurora.
I only ever get smiles from Aurora, so
He must like you more.
I was gonna say we have very different Aurora dynamics. You said Aurora face, and I was like, so he's like giggling with it, and you were like, no, serious eyes, like hate fueled, and I'm like,
okay, I didn't say hate fueled.
Well, that's maybe. Well, you don't know.
No, I know what I said.
What, you don't know if yeah, okay. Titans are the first pick here in game number 1. And Mifflin, they're going to go off immediately with an RDO and a Bastet ban. The Bastet, notably the one that Nika had gotten that pentakill on. And might not be just because of that. I think it's just because Nika really likes that pick. And so trying to control that one a little bit more.
Yeah, just limit some of these more meta selections. I am surprised that Izanami is still seeing first ban wave priority, considering she has eaten a couple of nerfs up until this point. Thought maybe we'd see her fall a couple of tiers in the Hunter role, but instead the Tartarus Titans going to continue to show respect to the god of, hey, we establish pressure because my auto attacks always pierce. So far, top to bottom, pretty standard bans from both of these squads would have both also left a lot of priority picks up and available.
Are you that impatient for
I
your
was not
death?
thinking Kleena, but Kleena has seen a lot of priority today so far. It's that ability to either flex into the jungle, flex into the soul lane, the objective control that she brings. Her team fight presence is legitimately pretty strong, even though a lot of her CC is conditional or it takes a long while to channel through. But the ability to have that flex so early on, especially for the Tartarus Titans, I know SOT is capable of playing this pick. I know that their jungler can play it as well. That's going to keep the Oni Warriors guessing. And if they don't, the Tartarus Titans, that is, pick another god that really shines a light on where this god is going to land, where Kleena is going to go, it could also, just by nature of being in the draft, control the next phase of bans.
Makes things a lot more comfortable for the Titans, right? They have a lot more to think about. And realistically, it works all those reasons you just said, right? Flexible, can show up in solo. We've seen it a lot in solo today, but can go over jungle. And when you ban Bastet, to me, it also feels like an extra ban, right? It's like another, hey, here's one less jungle pick for you and one less Nika pick for you on the board to try and take away. The response, not exactly the top two that I was thinking were going to be in response here, Mifflin. It's Uller and Nemesis.
Feel the weight
We
of
saw
the
Panda Cat
world.
have a hell of a couple of games here on Uller earlier, sans the Fury. And then Nemesis, who, I mean, has always, she just always is there. It's one of Cuvo's best gods as well, so she falls right into his hands.
Yeah, Cuvo's been playing Nemesis for years now, and she is very strong considering the Hydra's Lament change, now having 10% penetration on it. She's a very strong auto attack canceller. We've seen that the age-old just Jotun's Wrath immediately into Hydra, serrated, then Erendite still works very well on this god. So Nemesis, I think, does not bring that flex potential. You are taking her into the jungle, but still is a very strong pick, especially against some of these largely immobile gods like Atlas. It's really just that dash that can get him away from some of these situations. If he uses that in front of the Nemesis, connect the ultimate, pretty easy to lock him down immediately afterward. This, barring the chalk, so far, I was going to say this is very reminiscent of P's and B's between the Bolts and the Dragons. Seems like they've been establishing similar metas.
But then there's Chalk.
Then there's a Chalk.
And that changes that sentence you said there.
I think they banned Chalk.
We did see it earlier. Was that in that set? I know it was banned out. And it was the Scarabs they banned out of the Chalk. So that was wow. That was the only reason I remember that is because I have it written down. This is a pick that Mifflin we don't see a whole lot of. Like he does a lot of stuff pretty well, but he just hasn't, at least for a long time competitively, been at the top of the list.
Yeah, now that Pagon and BennyQ are both in the league, I am contractually obligated to say that Chalk mid is a possibility. I do prefer to see him in the Soul Lane because it allows him to go more so towards that standard defensive build. Generally, we'll see immediate Transcendence, which is, I would argue, still a defensive item, but only for Chalk, just because that scaling power gives you so much more healing on your third ability. It gives you effective HP to get involved and deep in these team fights. And then we'll see either a Rune Forged Hammer, which is always going to be applied if Chalk is near you thanks to that slow, or we could just go straight down like that Breastplate of Valor tree and get some of that CDR online a lot more quickly. So, soft flex potential from the Chalk, to be sure. Mid and solo, even jungle, but not so much because you've got a Nemesis on your side already.
I appreciate you giving it like some mid credence now.
Yeah, I mean, I have to. Pagon and BennyQ are in the
Actually,
SPL.
well, but they're not the ones playing.
Yeah, but like
I
they
will
bring
also
their
play
meta.
devil's advocate, and that I think Dardas has played Chalk mid competitively
well,
in
then,
the past.
then why are you coming at me, man?
Conversation. We got
Oh,
time
fair
to
enough.
fill. We gotta wait for them to finish here. I'm not gonna complain about more to discuss. Yamoja, Aphrodite are the bans here for the Titans. Hell and Habwa are banned out by the Warriors. And I'm going to be honest, Miff, there's about 3 more healers down there than I would have expected. Yamoja maybe, finding the nice balancing point, but Afro and Hell, it feels like a meta that we haven't seen at all today, and yet still taking some bans.
Yeah, well, it's the only Warriors set, right? Like, we know that they love going towards some of those healers, specifically the Aphrodite. Surprised that it was the Warriors to ban out the Hell themselves. Maybe concerned that Paul has got a pretty strong pedigree.
Paul is real good at Hell.
He's real good. You could have just stopped there, right?
Yeah.
Like, Paul's pretty nasty. What I was not expecting...
He also went super high up in the fantasy draft.
What I was not expecting was this Naja lock-in. I think that is for support.
Well, it's that or it's a Nim support or a Chalk support, right? So, like, it's got...
That's right.
It fits a little bit better than the other two.
And that's why I said it.
Yeah. And how do you feel about that play? I like with an Uller, it feels like a lot of lane pressure.
Yeah, I would argue that Naja is going to act as a piercing axe for Uller. You just land that sash, and you've got enough time to land up the hail of arrows, the bladed arrows, make it a little bit easier for you to close gap on the back line of the Tartarus Titans. If it is a Shibalanke lock-in, he's going to have to play very cognizant of the CC that the only Warriors have got because you can still cancel out that Rising Jaguar early on, but instead, it's the Apollo lock-in, a pick that we saw a little bit during the SCC, where it was just really prioritizing that silver branch.
Everything was like expected, and then the Chalk like kind of like the shock was shaky, and then everything after that like it didn't. I don't want to say deteriorated.
No.
Maybe we did. It is like the 9th hour or so, 10th hour we've been here, so we'll see that. Zeus, it makes sense to me, right?
Yes.
Apollo, you were just talking about is a little out there from what we've seen lately.
Yep.
Vulcan. Specifically, Vulcan into Zeus. How do you feel about this? That turret is a literal free lightning charge most of the time.
Yeah, I hate that.
Chain lightning.
I hate that for Vulcan, right? Like, we'll see that there's like 2 avenues of thought for Vulcan
At
players.
least there's
it's
no
either
longer a thumper, right? That's one less chain lightning target.
Playing Devil's Advocate, if you had Thumper and the turret, that actually eats up some chain lightning, dropping both.
because they bounce off each
they'll
other.
bounce off each other instead. So maybe that would have been better for the Zeus matchup. But instead, there are some Vulcans that like to max the first ability. There are some that max out the second ability.
Yep.
I don't think you can max the second ability in this matchup. Because if it survives the first chain lightning, goes to you, comes back to it, and bounces to you twice, you are just losing out. So there is the potential that we see Vulcan max out that first ability, leave the turret at tier 1, and then immediately go into the third, just so turret doesn't act as that additional shield for Zeus.
Is it bad when you listed Vulcan players and that like to max the turret first? And the first person that came to my mind was Snoopy because he's the one that I think I've
That's
seen
not
do it
bad.
the most. He used to play it and carry all the time. So going for the backfire, I mean, at least like theoretically there's survivability, but then you have to go back and look at everything else on this draft, right? If you're Zeus, you're going up against a Nim and a Naja who are going to be able to, as assassins, get to the back line. If you're Vulcan, you're up against Kleena and Kamazotz. That seems terrifying.
Yeah, both mid laners are going to be pretty easy to dive, I'm thinking. One team's dive is going to be a little bit easier to execute on. I'd argue that's the Tartarus Titans between Kleena and Kamazotz together. They're not going to need any help finishing off their targets, whereas, sure, Nemesis can close gap, but she's generally going to be around those auto attacks, and if you're in melee range, it's very easy for Zeus to just drop that shield on his feet and drop the Chain Lightning, applying that slow. Also worth noting that if Zeus holds out on the shield toss, can get himself that additional movement speed after the slow is applied, so there's a little bit of counterplay there, up to 40% once that's maxed out, which is very strong in some of these dive scenarios. Whereas on the other side, Naja can close gap, but assuming that he's support, needs that follow-up.
Yeah.
He does not get a lot of damage just from the base kit alone. And then Nemesis, being that follow-up, also has to be really close range. It's going to be pretty hard to execute on. It's also a lot more committal.
Well, the drafts have absolutely perplexed me. I did not expect some of these picks to come through, but they're here and they're playing. Let's see how they act in game number 1.
Tartarus Titans versus the Oni Warriors for the first time in Season 9. And they are bringing out some unique stuff here. Dolson, Trelly, and Doug for our 4th and final best of 3 of the day. And Trelly, I didn't expect to see a Vulcan today. I didn't expect to see a Vulcan tomorrow. I didn't expect to see a Vulcan this year. And here we go. Dardes, Vulcan in the mid lane up against Paul on Zeus.
I don't think we've seen Vulcan too much at all. But hey, he does have a pretty sick build right now into the double flat pen. He's got a lot of damage, of course. His issue always is that he, if he's not kiting consistently, if he's not always hitting these abilities, these backfires, getting that movement speed, then he's quite easy to kill. So we'll have to see if Dardes is able to position well enough to just keep this pick alive to get the damage off that we know it can provide.
Now, we know Nika at times has been a carry-style player for the Oni Warriors team. We saw it with Bastet during the SPL play, and Pentakill on Bastet gave the Oni Warriors a good foot forward in that set. You see a Chalk locked in, a Naja locked in, and a Nemesis locked in. I think Chalk going into the jungle is at the bottom of my prediction list, but that's how it breaks out here. Naja for NeilMah, Nika on Nem in the solo lane, Trelly. That means Chalk jungle for Cubo Fred.
Nika wants to be a jungler so bad. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, the Bastet pick, kind of just very strong right now. You can play it wherever you really need it, and obviously Nika knows how to pilot that Bastet. Nemesis, a little bit different, a little bit worse clear, I will say, than the Bastet. A little bit less safe early on, but if you are going to build what looks to be a damage build, you're pretty much always going to be winning that 1v1, I feel. So maybe that's the option here, just try to solo out SOT whenever he can. But Kleena, very safe in her own right.
Uh-oh, Nico. Whoa, maybe there's a world. I guess with a double dash, Nika was always going to be safe there, but SOT pulls off after putting Nika into red HP. Both junglers were rotating over towards right, so if SOT overstays at all, he is under a little bit of pressure there. But Nika lives to fight another day. That's all that matters. Even sticks around.
Yeah.
The wave ends up getting soaked up.
It's just the Bluestone start versus this Death Toll start. Obviously, Nika just doesn't have good clear right now, whereas Kleena has nothing but clear, as there is some targeted aggression here in the duo lane.
Vote's got to jump away. Dash in from Cyclone Spin. All about hitting autos at this point. And Cyclone Spin missing a few. NeilMah resets the blink timer and blinks on away. Have to feel like there could have been a kill there for this Titans duo lane, but NeilMah and Vote both able to live on.
I think Cyclone didn't know that Neil was positioning where he was. He sort of looked towards Vote as Vote's doing a ton of damage. He's going to jump in here.
Vote does jump in. That's a pullback in from a roar stun onto Neo. That means first blood to the Tartarus Titans. We have thrown caution to the wind, and it is support getting a kill, and it's Tartarus Titans starting things off.
I love to see the Atlas getting the respect it deserves. First set of the day, I brought it up. I said, most of these mid-tier to great-tier players, barring the SPL, have not been valuing this Atlas pick. It hasn't been getting the pick recognition, the ban recognition that it deserves. And I really thought that these top-tier players, these supports specifically, that know how good this pick can be, and know how good his two specifically, the Gravity Well, they're just going to make it look really easy and make it look very strong, and that's exactly what Aurora is doing right here. Just being able to just take someone out of the fight, pick them up, and throw them towards your team without an ultimate is extremely good.
We'll check back in on the other side with NeilMah on Naja. War flag into something else that we haven't normally seen as far as support items go early here. And if the landing phase continues to go this way, might need a little bit more time for NeilMah to complete that first item. But a good start for the Tartarus Titans. Cyclone Spin even able to hold on to his beads. Vote missing his for the next minute and a half. So if Aurora continues to play aggressively, position aggressively, could be a long, long laning phase here for the Oni Warriors, especially when Cyclone Spin hits level 5. That's something that, Apollo brought way back when we saw Apollo. Season 7 Worlds, very popular pick there for a little while. Season 8 saw Apollo a little bit. Global pressure, something that Cyclone Spin will make use of. Double mez, and how about this damage? It's a beam right on through Vote. If Cyclone Spin chooses, we're dunking down. And where does Cyclone Spin want to go? Right on top of Vote. Global pressure, who needs it? I'm just going to dunk down in lane.
Beautiful, but Cuvo is definitely positioning over here. Cyclone doesn't have much available to get out of this.
NeilMah has Sash, and it hits Cyclone Spin. There's a return kill for the Oni Warriors. Neil is very low here, but there's no rotation way in behind the two members of the Oni Warriors. No purple buff to invade. Some pings are going out. Big rotation around behind from Paul, maybe. Layers are starting to come to this side of the map.
Paul's looking at Dardes
right,
here.
If Aurora can buy enough time, there could be a couple more kills dropping down here. Paul nearly gets a solo kill onto Dardes in the mid lane. Layers sort of abandons things on the left side of the map and rejoins his mid laner over by the red buff. Vote obliterated by Paul, and NeilMah will end up dying anyway. So Neil dies, ends up being a double kill for Paul.
Yeah, I mean, Paul on this Zeus pick, a pick that should have very little pressure early. Besides the shield has great clear, but just be very easy to dive, very easy to get on top of. He just seems so safe. He's able to position so high on the map right now. Look at the red buff. Try to kill Dardes behind tower, and then have great peel from his team to get out there. Despite using the beads, Paul picks up 2 kills very early on in this game. Something that Zeus, you'd think, wouldn't be able to pull off, but Paul kind of just does it with ease.
Yeah, now Paul, as Nika uses his ult on SOT just to slow down the onslaught. SOT has just kept Nika pushed beneath his tier 1 tower. Zot's got to be careful here. Nearly grabs the kill onto Nika. Dashes away, NeilMah Sash. This one's good. SOT doesn't use the beads. Might need him for the NeilMah ultimate. That is not there. Beads get used. And there's a kill over towards Nika. Layers could see a kill onto Nika. There is a bat out of hell, but we'll think twice. Now solo kill opportunity for Cyclone Spin. Minions buying a little bit of time for Vote, who jumps out and away, and Cyclone Spin's got his ult. And he will gallop right over the top of Vote. We've seen this story before, but Vote sidesteps it. Beam rips through from Aurora, and now Cyclone Spin has taken over this lane. 2-1, and Vote at 0-3. Likely can't stand in this lane at all.
Beautiful snipe by Aurora, just to make sure, that one from Apollo was able to kill there. The Prot Shred, I think, might have just confirmed it. He could have probably had a solo kill of it himself, but good juke in Vote's own right on that ultimate.
Give Aurora an assist, right?
Yeah.
He's just being a team player.
Making sure to get your support some farm, man.
Right.
I think he probably was trying to steal that kill. In reality, he probably thought he was going to win first. The Gamma Beam comes in, he steals the kill, then says, mine. Something along those lines. But Paul, no stranger to this breastplate build that we are seeing here. He loves being these tanky mages before these tanky mages knew they wanted to be tanky mages. So making sure he's just going a little bit tanky. SOT puts a lot of damage into Nika.
Yeah, Nika had to sidestep both charges of that ultimate. Otherwise, I think you're looking at a solo kill for SOT. Cyclone's been playing this Apollo a bit like a Danzaburo with that rocket. You can just dunk on people, force them to fight you. Runeforge is the item for NeilMah, and he'll get some value now onto SOT, who is obliterated by Dardes. And so the Oni Warriors have been answering back a kill or two here and there, but it's required a little bit more emphasis on some of those rotations over, and really, Trilly, it doesn't make much of a difference as far as gold and XP goes. Just flattens things out for a moment.
Yeah, the gold lead is going to be where you really want to put your attention here. Yeah, Neil is not going to have much to escape here. The Windfire Wheels is not available, and the Scepter is going to make it so there's no blink, but Nika rotates over.
Nika drops his ultimate on top of Layers, but the kill has already fallen down. Earthshaker just wide of Layers, who is back by a speed buff, but the clap comes out in time. But guess who is back? It is SOT. We are 11 kills into an 8-minute game, and it's the Tartarus Titans coming out ahead. And I was wondering for a moment, you know, if the go button for Cyclone Spin was going to be Vote missing his axe, if that immediately means Cyclone dashes in. But it looks like Cyclone will be a gracious leader over in the duo lane now and let Vote live for a little bit.
Yeah, Cyclone has quite the lead. Three levels up at the moment in the duo lane as Cuba blinks onto Paul. I don't think he has the damage for this, but beautiful rotation for Vote.
Oh, that was an important dodge out from Paul. If the rest of that damage had connected, likely dead. This time Cyclone Spin does use the rotation over. Grabs the kill onto Vote, and now the last couple of auto attacks. Depends where they land. Cyclone's been caught into the slow. Cubo Fred sidestepping a whole lot. SOT missing a little bit of the damage on the back end as well. So 1 kill swing in mid, but the Titans still have a lead here. This is a fight the Oni Warriors are going to need a numbers advantage to make a bit of a difference in. Layers realizes nothing to be fought over here.
I think Neil's still looking for that beautiful beads. It looks like that is going to be all, but Dardes is putting a lot of damage as Nika blinks in to try to chase this down.
Yeah, this is we're spiraling already, Trelly. We're 9 minutes in. We're 13 kills in. I nearly said 14. Thank God I can do really quick math, right? As SOT does end up going down, so the Tartarus Titans are winning literally everywhere except solo lane right now. That's where Nika has been able to plant his flag at 2-1, a 1-level lead over SOT, who has fallen to 0-3 now. So the Cleveland's going to be need a little bit of time to become a factor in this game, whereas the rest of the Tartarus Titans are already there. It feels like playing around Paul in this duo lane. Good strategy for the Titans moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, they've amassed a 3K gold lead just about. They're putting a lot of damage into Paul here, but he does have some juke shoes. His ult is available. I think Neil might be able to finish this one.
Oh, is he going to, though? Oh, thank God Paul lives, because that body block would have killed him, and instead, it's horrific for the Oni Warriors. You're thinking you got a kill onto Paul, but it's anything but. Dardes and NeilMah get body blocked off, and the Tartarus Titans turn around 2 of these kills. You do force Paul back to base, but not without a couple of extra assists.
I mean, Paul's been baiting pretty much all game. He's been at 1 HP, just juking all about. That Breastplate of Valor really getting its money's worth here. Neil, I saw him scratching his head after that one. They really thought they were able to shut down the killing spree that Paul's on right now. Large gold bounty if they were able to kill. But at this point, he's very quick when that shield goes down. He's got a lot of damage. The turret only adds to the bounces, as Mifflin touched on before. So it's very difficult to try to pin down this Zeus right now.
Here's the good news, right? When you're this far behind, it just means there's more killing sprees to shut down. So, like, you can get a kill onto Paul and get a shutdown. You can get a kill onto a Roar and get a shutdown. And so, really, if you think about it, the Oni Warriors have the Titans right where they want them, where you got more than one player on a killing spree and more than one opportunity for a shutdown. Cyclone Spin takes a lot of damage, but that's all the damage that Vote has. Chariots will not arrive underneath Cyclone, and Cubo Fred completes the bait as Chalk rotates over to left. And that's exactly what the doctor ordered for Vote. I mean, needs just a second to hang out and farm up, because Cyclone Spin has been absolutely relentless.
Yeah, I think Vote finally gets to finish stacking that Transcendence. Probably a big deal for him. Looks like he is going to be building into that hi-rez next, which we saw Panda Cat building earlier today. A lot of damage you're able to output with this early game Uller build. Late game, though, is where you might have to make sure you're hitting your abilities just to make sure you're getting all that DPS off. But either way, 0-4, you're not looking too good in the boxing fight specifically. I don't think you're really trying to solo Cyclone Spin right now, but if you do have a Chalk that comes over and blinks on and forces everything out, that's gonna help you out a ton. So Cubo able to pick up his kill there, finish his Transcendence. Now that's gonna be stacking online. A lot of ability damage coming out of these Oni Warriors.
Yeah, I liked the way Cyclone just kind of stared down the entire rotation from Vote and then realized he still had half of his health bar remaining and could turn around the last bit of that fight as long as Cubo Fred wasn't there, but he was. Now Cyclone Spin sends his eyes towards the Gold Fury. Will be reset by the Tartarus Titans, but the Oni Warriors immediately pick it back up. And the last bit of damage is in from the Tartarus Titans. NeilMah limping away with 1 HP. I'm surprised Cyclone Spin isn't going in here. If I'm Cyclone, I'm ulting on NeilMah every single day of the week. It's a crusher damage from Cyclone Spin that secures the Fury. Paul gets run down, though, by Cubo Fred, who started to warm up a little bit here in game number 1. Cyclone Spin around the backside of this fight. Cubo Fred gonna take a lot of the damage from Apollo as Nika looks for the backline, but Nika won't find it.
It seems like Nika getting ahead in this lane was able to impact these fights so much. Obviously not too far ahead, just the XP lead, but being able to get to Paul early as Vote takes a ton of damage from SOT.
And he ends up going down. Will Sot die for his troubles, though? No, he won't, as Aurora continues to control the front of this fight. You get Paul, but you end up losing the Fury and 3 members of your team. The Oni Warriors suffer a big defeat. Yeah, a slight spike downwards right around the 10-minute mark, and then an immediate doubling of the gold lead just a couple minutes after that. The Titans, when they stumble, they don't stumble far. And right back to their winning ways. Big power spike starting to get hit by Paul as well, as NeilMah will end up dying to SOT. But Paul is going to come back into this lane. You delay the damage a little bit, Trelly, with the BOV, the Breastplate of Valor. But then the Tier 2 Ob Shard coming back into this lane means that damage is right back on track.
I just got to highlight Aurora here, man. 4 and 10. 4-0 and 10, I should say. Sorry. 4 kills, 10 assists. That's only 14 kills for the Titans. Wherever Aurora is right now, wherever he's able to hit these crazy CC chains. Credit to, I will say, that one gamma ray across the map to make sure he got sure he had 100% kill participation. But either way, anywhere Aurora is right now, he is being extremely disruptive, picking up people, setting up damage for his team. Obviously, the fight went considerably well, and of course this gold lead is going in their favor as well, but anytime Aurora is in your fight right now, you're having a grand old time as Cyclone completely outtrades Vote there.
Yeah, I was wondering, again, the missed axe, goodness, for whatever reason that's hard to say. And Cyclone Spin immediately goes back in. Hugo Fred's been making a lot happen for the Oni Warriors as well. A couple ultimates sent SOT's way, but neither of them will confirm the kill. Instead, Hugo Fred dies. Now Nico left alone with 4. And will not be able to trade out. The Tartarus Titans have taken over control of this game. And I'm not even sure. Well, he doesn't have beads. All right, there you go. Does have Chariot. But
beautiful.
If beads were there, maybe you're looking at something a little bit different. Vote one more tower shot, you're looking at something a little bit different, though. And Cyclone Spin, you got to be a little frustrated. You're completely running over this lane. But you're continuously bringing people over to your side of the map if you're the Oni Warriors. And now Cyclone Spin has died a few times.
Yeah, Neil pretty much right now is just an old bot. He's trying to help his team wherever he can, but he opted to go for that War Flag start, so he's not gaining enough gold as you would. He's he's got a little bit, but the Rune Forge and the Void Shield, he's going for as much damage as he really can while still being sort of tanky. At this point, I feel like he just wants to go as much cooldown as he can and try to set up for his team. But right now, he's stealing away a little bit, trying to catch up in that farm game and just trying to lock down these Windfire wheels. Try to set up for the squad, because right now the Naja only has 2 items. It's looking very difficult to help out your squad as much as Aurora has on the flip side. Trying to match that pressure is going to be very difficult.
Yeah, Charlie, I think NeilMah needs about a 45-minute game to happen if we're going to get towards Aurora level of impact on this game. He's just fallen a little bit too far behind, and the game has started to get out of control a little bit as well. And so the Titans' avenue forward really revolves around, of course, the first Fire Giant. But when the Pyromancer's down, it's already been confirmed, the Fury is down as well. Looks like the Oni Warriors are just going to try to make some fights happen. SOT use the beads to avoid the knockup, but still is going to take a whole heap of damage. Now keep in mind, as SOT leaves, why did he leave? Because Layers is here. As Nika ends up dying, you got to get this kill on the Sot. Hugo Fred will take the axe back, but Sot will live on the other side of this fight. This is just an example of a game where nothing's going right for the Oni Warriors, and I'm not even confident that somehow NeilMah was going to take damage from that Earthshaker if he accidentally stood in it, even though it's on his own team. That's just the way this game is going, It feels like everything against the Oni Warriors. A kill on a Cyclone Spin helps. That's what Vote's got.
Yeah, that'll definitely help Vote getting a return kill here as he gets rotated by the brunt of the Tartarus Titans. I did want to mention about how, if you aren't familiar with how clean his kit works, SOT was invis to both of them there. That's why no one chased him down at 1 HP. Just to clarify, it seemed like they just sort of let him go, but he was able to hit the invis on both of them. So no one really knew where he was there. Great baits here as Paul hits a huge chunk of damage. And Aurora is going to just face tank the brunt of this force as well.
Yeah, why not? When Aurora's as far ahead as he is, you can do that and feel just fine about it. As Darda's a couple levels behind, Vote a couple levels behind. I mean, surely this doesn't go in your favor, right? I mean, you're going to leap out. Okay, Aegis is there. Detonate would have taken a big heap out of that health bar, but Vote ends up having to use the active and jumping out of this lane. So 5-1 and 5 is where Paul is. Completes the Ob Shard, goes into Soul Reaver next is what it looks like. And Cyclone Spin sticking with a crit down the back end of this Apollo build. And so if the 1v1s continue, Vote could be in a tough spot.
Yeah, Cyclone, of course, did just get, I believe, soloed by Vote. I didn't see anyone else around. It seemed
Yeah,
like
I agree.
the whole brunt of his HP was down by Vote at the very least, and then the finishing kill. So Vote probably just feeling himself a little bit there, tried to find it, and Layer's not
Indeed.
going to fall for that ult.
But does get hit by the sash on the jump out. The bat out of hell was there if he really needed it. This would be a desperation call. This would be a desperation call, and it is by the Oni Warriors. How fast will the Tartarus Titans respond? It's actually burning somewhat quickly. Layers into the back line, and Layers is absolutely melting. But how about that bat out of hell brought to you for free by Aurora. Fire Giant not secured by the Oni Warriors at first, but is on the second swing of things. As the Oni Warriors take down the Fire Giant, they lose 2 members. They lose 3 members. And at this point, it's just delaying giving the Fire Giant over to the Tartarus Titans. You're not going to win any sort of fight on the back end, but Nika is able to pull back 1. Nika is able to add a second when the Oni Warriors need him most. Nika shows up, could be a 3rd kill, but in and out of the wall goes SOT, 1 last auto, and Nika's got a triple.
I was going to say, if you are going to have fire on someone, it's good to have it on Nika, the Penta Kid. The Penta Kid from the play-ins. Maybe he could have brought it back, obviously. Nika not able to completely 1v5 just with the fire buff, but 3 kills on him will go a little bit, but of course Paul did not die there, and he's able to pick up his tier 2 tower. I wish I could answer you what is going on. It seemed,
Yeah.
I think we were in the same page where it was a bit of a
Well, it's an
desperation
existential
call.
question at this point,
Right.
I mean, there's no great answer to it. It's more of a life thing. How do we get here? Well, we got here because the Tartarus Titans did a good job fighting early. But, I mean, really, you take down the Fire Giant, and it's like Dardes dropped his ult there, Kivo Fred dropped his ult there. The Tartarus Titans, like, completely abandoned the FG, and it gave it over to the Oni Warriors. And only Nika retains it. And so I think at this point, Trelly, it's not even so much that the Oni Warriors have it. It's more so that the Tartarus Titans don't. And so the game has been delayed out a little bit.
Right. So, I mean, if Nika doesn't wipe there, or at least get the 3 kills that he was able to get, you probably are losing a Phoenix at the very least. And at the very most, you could. It's a little bit early to end the game. These respawn timers are very low. NeilMah was already back up at that point to help try to help the fight again. So I don't think you're ending the game at that point. But still, Aurora going to be taking a big poke of damage here.
Shaker finishes off the kill onto Aurora. Dardes nearly dies on the back of this fight. SOT was up in the sky, but down he crashes immediately into an ultimate from Cubo Fred as well. 1 by 1, the Tartarus Titans go in, and 1 by 1, they will add their kills. Clap of damage on Nepal as Cyclone Spin dunks down into the backline, and now the Titans rally around a lost fight a moment ago and kill everyone but Cubo and Dardes.
Who knew all it took was to get Aurora on his first death of the game for them to finally find some aggression here. Dardes going to be taking a big chunk of damage from Kleena here, but Cubo is, ooh, he had the teleport. I didn't even see him chuck that axe, so a little clean dodge there. They are not going to choose to go for this Phoenix here, even though they had the numbers advantage. Again, Neil's respawn timer is almost on that threshold, so he's coming right back here. You don't want to take that 4v3 with no Fire Giant, obviously, so they might just go for the Primal Fury here and take a small win. Fire Giant already off the table.
It sure is, and it will be for the next 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Primal Fury in for the Tartarus Titans. Ends up being a Deathbringer completed for Cyclone Spin. Rage for Vote on the other. Transcendence Hydra's Rage for Vote. You'll have a little bit of crit in the back pocket. Alternate timeline added here for Paul. So Paul has only died once, Trilly. But now it's going to be a little bit more difficult through an Aegis, through an alternate timeline to finally kill off this Zeus.
Yeah, I have a theory that Paul only cares about not dying and that he just always builds to survive. Obviously, he wants to help his team. That's, that's one thing, but he takes it to a bit of an extreme. He really does not want to die. And I think at the end of the season, he just looks at how little deaths he has, and he likes to just look at it and shine it and put it on the mantle.
Did you take him in Fantasy?
Fantasy
Smite?
I did not. I believe I took Pagon. Yeah, I think Paul was already off the table.
What did Pagon's set earlier today give you some confidence in picking the mid laner?
Yeah, I've known Pagon's skill for a bit now. I'm glad he finally gets to showcase it in the league, but I had some faith in him even before today. Yeah.
All right, fair enough, Troy. You gotta pat yourself on the back. I trusted this guy forever, but fair enough. This was a team that succeeded at the SEC for a while and definitely deserved their shot here in the SPL. I mean, it's always your first set is up against the Leviathans, sort of a baptism by fire for the Valhalla Valkyries. Going to be a fun year to watch them learn and grow. Same for both of these teams, the Tartarus Titans and the Oni Warriors. As NeilMah started off this fight on the back, Paul's going to trigger that alternate timeline, and we spent everything to kill off this Zeus, but it's the second wind in the fight that has given the Tartarus Titans time to reinitiate. And so it's Paul for how many is the question. For now, the answer is 4.
Cyclone's on the
NeilMah
hunt.
is gonna make 5 here at some point, as long as Cyclone can find them, and it's inch perfect. Cyclone a double and a deicide for the Tartarus Titans.
I mean, that's truly how much it takes.
and probably the game.
Yeah, that's truly how much it takes to take down this Zeus right now. Extremely tanky, the alternate timeline as well. Even off of the beautiful Earthbreaker into Windfire Wheels, Paul was still able to survive. They just had to put a lot of damage into this mid laner, who was pumping out a lot of damage in the fights in his own right, but they had to make sure they were able to kill him there to even have a chance at that fight.
Surely they end, right? I mean, I'm standing up at everything. 15 seconds left on the death timers for literally everyone. And so the Tartarus Titans will walk in, and they will end game number 1. Some pushback from the Oni Warriors. I think the big win for the Warriors here in game number 1 was the stealing away of the Fire Giant. Otherwise, this game probably ends a couple minutes ago. But the Tartarus Titans felt in control from very early on.
Yeah, I think that they're not too upset about that, obviously. They didn't have quite the start that they might want, but at the very least they had some shimmers of greatness there. Shutting down Paul Zeus has not been, it's a tall task for anyone. So being able to find at least 2 kills, they have some praise, but I think probably just wanting to ban that one away at this point. How many times he got out with 1 HP is a little bit heartbreaking.
Yeah, it felt like Paul got the Zapman treatment here in this game. Just dove on all the time, and everyone just trying to kill off Paul, and it worked at the end, but you lose everyone else on your team if you're the Oni Warriors and the game. Tartarus Titans take game number 1, game number 2 coming up next.
I arise. Sound the horns. There is battle to be met. Which way is it to the gym?
There are some who will never learn.
Good morning, brother.
Greetings.
Aw, is that the best you can do?
Don't feel down. You'll do better next time.
Forward!
You light up my world.
The day is ours!
I'll be putting out some mad deets.
Too easy.
Find me a worthy opponent.
The battlefield is where I really shine. Nothing in this world lasts.
I'm exhausted.
Yes, we have many forms.
Fear not, my loyal subjects. Your queen has arrived.
Do you think this is too gaudy?
Greetings. Fear not. Through my leadership, we will secure victory.
Don't order me around.
I'm king of the world! We have always been watching. There is no use in hiding.
The corruption spreads. I will stay diligent.
The light of the moon guides us forward.
A terrible fate awaits all who hear my cries.
The gods are all just like ships without captains. Careless, aimless, pointless.
Their lives are all forfeit.
Let us rejoice in a new beginning. I was there when it all began, and I will be here when it is all over.
Well, the Titans take game number 1. And they do so in a fun fashion, and they do control it for a long time. I picked up a balloon, and I'm just rolling with it now.
Let's put down the balloon.
You can find a lot of success by going into game. I was hoping that would make it way further than it. Going into game and playing in the Smite birthday celebration. Of course, you just watched that video of Smite through the years. First off, I forgot what hell used to look like, and I didn't realize that was something that was still in my memory. And so that was a fresh one. Of course, the Minotaur and all of the things that have changed throughout the ages. But if you go in now and you celebrate Smite's birthday with us, then you can earn rewards by playing every single day, including the Husky Handler Scotty skin, as well as some community art cosmetics. It's also worth mentioning that alongside all of the stuff you can get from playing in-game right now, you can also go buy gems, because they're just cheaper right now, 33% off, and you can get those gems as much as you want for that discount. So all of that is going to be going on. I know the gem sale is until March 27th for those of you who are keeping track. That is Sunday. So we've got a few more days to get on those. 2 days, I believe, including Sunday, though, so you will still be able to purchase them on there. And of course, the in-game event, it has the wheel and everything. It's really fun. Just go play. It's going to be worth it for you. Either way, my name is Gormizer. Again, joining me on the desk, Mifflin, and we are at the cusp of the cusp of the set. What is that? The end of the game 1. There we go. And
yeah, not the cusp.
Yeah,
we're in the
cusp?
middle.
Cusp is the beginning, isn't it?
Sure, or the end, I guess.
I think it's just the beginning. But
well, we're not there. We are not at the cusp.
Yes, this is definitely the middle portion of said set. And as of now, Titans up 1-0. And Mifflin, they look pretty good through a lot of this, especially towards the end. They're really picking it up. I mean, what the kills was like 30 to 14 or something, I think, by the end there.
Just about.
But early on, they get a lot of pressure. They get a lot of those kills. They control the kind of flex from duo out to the rest of the game. And it just feels like there were a couple of moments for the Warriors to look good, but not enough that really pulled things back.
Yeah, the concerns that I had just looking at P's and B's was that the Oni Warriors, although they had dive, was going to be a little bit harder for them to execute on, whereas the Tartarus Titans, once they got into the back line, sorry to the fans at home, we got the logos mixed up here. Once the Tartarus Titans got into the back line, it was so easy for SOT to confirm his own kills. It was so easy for Layers to dive deep, and if he was ever put into kill threshold, immediately bat out of hell, finish off his kill, and then disengage. Whereas on the other end, we got into the back line, what happened? Not much. You weren't able to secure those kills. The follow-up wasn't quite there for the Oni Warriors. I think game 1 could very easily be chalked up to a lot of draft diff.
Yeah, well, and you know what? You land maybe on the money there. Chalk Jungle. How'd you feel about it?
Well, I mean, there were a couple of ganks in the early portions of the game, especially towards the duo lane, that went the way of Chalk, and I think that's just about all that went the way of Chalk. I understand that Chalk can go jungle. He's got very strong presence. If you are able to establish a lead on that god, it's pretty easy to maintain it just because you are allowed to stay out in the field a lot longer than some of these other junglers. You've got very easy to execute ganks, just blink in, bring down that massive silence and knock up with the ultimate. But just in those late game team fights, I feel like the Chalk was really struggling to survive.
Yeah, and it really, again, it kind of blew my mind that he got locked in and went jungle. Not that Chalk jungle necessarily on its own blew my mind. That there was a nemesis in the game and Cuvo Fred wasn't the one playing it blows my mind.
That does blow my mind.
And so that's where they, I don't want to say lost me, but definitely confused me at the very, the tip of it.
At the cusp.
At the cusp of the game. Yeah, you're right. At the very beginning. And now we end up in a fun spot. Titans, I believe, are still going to be first pick going into game number 2. And Mifflin, let's run it down their draft again. Outside of the Zeus and the Apollo, although Zeus we have seen some priority for the most part, everybody else that they drafted, especially their top 3, has had a prevalent showing today. Kleena, Kamazotz, and Atlas come to my mind. All of those are pretty good, as it turns out.
Yeah, I was surprised, particularly that Atlas hasn't been seeing the most priority today or during the SEC play-ins or even the SPL play-ins. I feel like Atlas has gone a little bit overlooked. I saw earlier that Hurrywin was feeling vindicated in his own priority of Atlas, tweeted out, "Oh boy, Atlas, surprised to see that one picked up early." But I think that he's right. He's right to be a little bit chagrined.
You know, I gave him the credit.
That god is incredibly strong. You sure did.
And you did too, now.
Yeah, I said his name and everything.
Yeah.
Shouts Tyler.
He was playing it really well. And both Tylers. Every Tyler that I know personally.
There's some losers.
Well, I only know the 2, I think.
Oh, okay.
How many Tylers do you know?
I think 2.
So which one are you calling the loser, Mifflin?
I don't know. There's some like bands to break down.
I don't know. I'm enjoying this one. Kepri banned alongside the Kleena and the Cabrakan. Same bands. Although Kleena's changed out. It was set last time. So that is one adjustment coming from the Warriors. Artio, Bastet, Izanami. Exact same bands from the Titans. And they're going to go for the Atlas first pick. Last time it was Kleena with her band. They value it at the top.
Yeah, Atlas is just so versatile. And it's something I brought up briefly earlier today. I think this god has a lot of potential to flex. His ability to just go hybrid build or
look at their shoulders.
Go for a little bit more damage in the build is so high. I think he really does have potential in the soul lane, especially considering we saw earlier today, even when you take him to support, some of these guys are maxing out that dash first or at least putting points into it early. It is a lot of deceptive burst damage every single time. Also, the ultimate, once you get some power behind that, the scaling changes make it very versatile, makes it a very good kill confirmation or team fight tool. So I'm not going to say just yet, because we haven't seen at the SPL level, that Atlas is a flex pick, but I think it does have potential to either go support or solo.
Now, here's a question for you. And this is a double-sided question. Is that what it is? No. It's a twofold question.
Use your powers against you.
A, how do you feel about Apollo? And 2, Cuvo smiled when this was locked in. Do you think we're seeing something reminiscent of the Valks last year and this is an Apollo jungle? He was giggling.
I really hope not. Apollo jungle has its best days are behind it, as far as I'm concerned. I think that Apollo on his own is a strong pick, very standard, has great boxing potential. The only reason I don't think we see Apollo too often is that the other boxers that get locked in for the Hunter role are things like the Medusa that are just going to out DPS you for the most part. But as long as Medusa isn't the direct matchup, you can use the Audacity, you can use the moves to stack it up and really start applying that damage early on. I would argue that Apollo is also one of the best Silver Branch users in the game because he's allowed to build it that much earlier thanks to his passive. Gets him a lot more power in some of these fights. And then global presence is something that you can never scoff at, the ability to just rotate throughout the map and make sure that your team is always outnumbering the other side. I think Apollo's a slept-on pick.
It's gonna be tested, right? We saw, hey, it won game 1, so realistically, you can't look down on it as of right now. Morgan gets locked in alongside that one. Nemesis gets locked in. This time, it feels like it will go to layers, although I said that last time as a Cuvo pick, and now we saw it go to solo, so we'll see where that ends up. Habwa, also prominent in the jungle more often than not here in the SBL. But also a really nuts Paul God, and with a little bit of a buff, that's scary.
Yeah, Paul Hebois, rather, now does not root himself when using Water Spout, the third ability, so he's allowed to maintain that kind of flow state and that range of motion in these team fights. It's not the most impactful change. I would argue a little bit more so quality of life, but when you're on the water carpet and you're just kind of sliding around, it really does make a difference, and Hebois is the god of quadruple ultimates as far as I'm concerned. Every single one of his abilities is incredibly strong for the team.
Two hits hard, baby.
I mean, not all ultimates deal damage. Gore, why are you smirking at me? What is going on?
It's been a day, man.
It has. It's been more than a day. Yeah, I think Hebois is in a pretty good spot right now. I don't love him in mid, but if I were to take him into a mid matchup and feel confident about it, it would be into the Morgan. Both of these gods are going to be relatively short-ranged. Sure, Morgan can max out that Dark Omen and just kind of do it from downtown, but similarly, Hebois can match up with Water Spout. Water Cannon's going to be a great tool. You can immune the stun from Morgan and avoid it by using the Crushing Wave. Anytime I lock a Hebois and I'm even considering it taken to mid, the whole thought process is, how much range does that other guy have? And if it's too much, I won't do it. I don't think the Morgan is too much.
I will give you credit. As much as I like to meme it, Atlas of the Yellow River is actually a nuts ability. Like,
it's so good.
How much move speed you get and how slow the other people get.
And it gives it to your teammates.
Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, it's just like, it's free on the end. You can rush your minions. There's a lot of fun plays you can make with it.
I'm surprised you knew the name of the ability.
Atlas of the Yellow River. I've played a lot of Hebo, man.
Same.
Okay, well, I also, I don't know. I don't have another. I don't have another one to go to.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, so here's where things get wonky. Very similar to last game. It's the end of the draft. We have Atlas, Nim, Hebo. Erlongshin gets locked in. With the rest of things, maybe solo lane, right? That's what that feels like. Artemis and her matchup against Apollo is one I want to ask you about. But then Nox gets locked in on the other side, where the Morgan already was. So somebody over there is jungle. Raven makes sense there. Someone's support. Nox, okay. Carry would be Apollo.
Of course.
Solo would be Cullen, and then Morgan mid.
That's where I've got them.
That makes way more sense. My brain was absolutely fried trying to figure that out.
Yeah, the only Warriors are just completely against going towards standard drafts, right? I mean, we've seen it year in and year out. They're always going to throw something a little bit of a curveball, especially towards the end, and they've done so here with the Nox. But looking at the matchup in the dual lane, assuming that it is going to be the Atlas, and I'm not 100% guaranteed, I'm not confident in saying that it is necessarily going to be that Atlas in support. I think that having Erlongshin support and Atlas solo has similar levels of merit and similar levels of value. So the Tartarus Titans, either way, both of those gods going to struggle up against this Nox. You don't have the greatest capacity to just ignore her. She's got very good ways to lock down your escape ability. Transform into a turtle, you get shadow locked. Start running whatever Atlas's dash is called, you get shadow locked. Very easy to silence those out as well. And against an Artemis, largely immobile, she doesn't have the greatest answers either until she gets the CC immunity from her ultimate.
So theoretically, it's a solid pick early on to be able to try and control the Titans a little bit more. Again, they're up 1-0. One more win, they move on to the semifinals. Mifflin, they've got a lot of power picks. Again, there's the shuffle. Now that we've seen Nemesis solo, I'm leaving that open and technically available. I don't know that that's what we'll see, but I could absolutely hear Sot saying, well, I'll just play that and show him how it's done kind of deal. Also, Erlongshin, it's nuts whether he's in solo or jungle. So no matter what, that's going to be worthwhile. It's the Artemis of the Hobwa. You had mentioned Artemis already, not super mobile. Hobwa, they both have move speed increases, but that's about it. And they're both pretty easy to read. I was going to ask you how we feel about it, but instead, we're going to throw this one on over to Dave and Trelly as we jump into game number 2 of the Titans and the Warriors, and that was a sick catch.
Yeah, I can't. Oh, somebody please. I don't know if anyone caught that on camera, but I, behind my head, caught it without looking at it. Gore threw me the balloon. That's one of those moments, Trelly, in life where like you do something really cool and like you hope other people are around to see it. I'm just so glad that all of you guys were around to see that moment, and I really wish that somehow was caught on camera. But just know if you're at home in stream, in chat, that I just did something really cool, and you weren't here to see it. So unlucky. But now we get some really cool Smite to watch. Tartarus Titans versus the Oni Warriors, the second rendition of it here in Season 9. And the second time in this set does end up being Nem solo. Paul on the Hobwa mid, layers in the Erlongshin out of the jungle. Feels like a little bit of a let's show you how it's done mindset here from Sop.
I think so, but I just want to touch on, I think everything Mifflin said ended up being pretty much the opposite, right? I mean,
oh, good. This is good. You're learning quickly, and I will hold that thought as NeilMah on Robin support.
As Paul finds first and second, but Neil almost
and
dies over
third,
here.
No, third blood will get away. Okay,
but
there is a third.
That was almost a genocide for everyone.
Yeah, this is absolutely absurd. All right, Tartarus Titans off to a 3-0 start. There's a solo kill in solo lane, and then a 2-kill swing in the 2v2 in mid with Cubo, Fred, and Dartes. Cubo, Fred's playing the Apollo, and NeilMah's on the Robin. Paul hoping to get a kill on Team NeilMah here.
Behind the tower at level 2.
We're level 2 tower diving. No, but I think we can take a deep breath and you can continue roasting Myth.
Well, what's the roast?
No, it's a roast.
Okay. They've really changed up at least what we were all thinking, right? So they take the Nox in mid, Mori ADC, Robin support, and Apollo jungle. So
to be fair to Myth,
the solo lane is correct.
To be fair to Myth. And this is what you were trying to say. I just didn't want to give Myth any credit.
Right.
0% chance you predict any of that.
No,
all of Myth's predictions were correct, but we are obviously straying away from reality here at the moment as Paul gets his second kill. Should be his third kill. Those are some low cooldowns. You're telling me Sands of Time plus the Tier 1 lost artifact and Paul is bopping like that already?
Yeah, that's
I guess he was level 3 and everyone else was level 2. That's kind of nuts.
I mean,
Hobble might be in a good spot.
Everything he just did, he probably could have done without the buff.
He's going to get another kill. Yeah, you got to path him behind the blue buff, wait out the transformation. Yeah, this is great. This is a worthwhile stick around. As we do end up getting a kill on the left side of the map. This time it's a roar on to vote. All right, so we're starting to set a pace here, Trelly. Tartarus Titans are 6-1 ahead, 2,000 gold ahead. And Paul is going to get in behind Nika here. Should be a kill for Nika, and there it is. Second tower shot is in. And Paul has now got to go. No, you go help out your solo lane. I guess Cubo Fred is here as well. It's just going to be too much damage. Can he get a kill anyway on Tanika is the question. No, Paul has used his abilities elsewhere. And so not only does SOT die, but Paul doesn't even rotate in and get the kill on Tanika after the fact. The Oni Warrior is able to answer back with a couple kills.
Dave, I truly believe they drafted this comp in a normal way as Layers gets shadow locked and definitely dies here. And they said, you know what?
Tell me what.
The first game didn't go so hot. Maybe we just don't reveal too much of our strats and we all just swap these picks around. And
You're telling me, Trelly, you don't expect to see Morgan ADC, Robin support,
well,
Apollo jungle, which we have seen before. We have seen, I mean, Nox mid is not all that absurd, right? Like,
my issue specifically is with the Morgan ADC, and there's nothing wrong with it. It works. You get to sell out your opponent, but the purple buff in and of itself is the only buff that has a revealing aura. So whenever you are invis as the Morgan, you are constantly broadcasting.
That's a fun fact.
You're broadcasting to everyone when you're near. You have that purple buff aura on you. So in my head, that's the only role she shouldn't be playing as ADC.
Well,
but if you are just trying to get ahead and farm your lane opponent, which, by the way, is not happening, just so we're clear. Vote is 0-2 at the moment. You just probably shouldn't be picking up that purple buffer unless you just want to broadcast where you are. So that's my qualms with it.
You know what, Trelly? That's a fun fact. I've never thought about that in my life, but here we are learning new things because we're watching a Morgan carry for vote. As Layers blinks in mid, and goodbye, says Paul with the crushing wave. And NeilMah's body blocked all over the place, but Cubo, Fred flips the script. I didn't even expect that. And a pull back in onto a roar. Layers takes the shell. NeilMah just doesn't have enough damage, and Layers will jump on away. Where's the root? No good. And Layers will turtle form his way on out. Ends up being a 1-for-1.
You might have expected more damage coming out of that Robin, but remember, it is a Watchers into what appears to be a Sovereignty, so no sort of DPS from the Robin just
So what,
yet.
we're rooting a whole lot?
Yeah, you got slows.
Yeah.
You got roots.
Yeah.
And Vote's gonna go for the Tusky mirror match here.
Yeah. Didn't quite work out. Took a tower shot that he wasn't expecting to take. Cyclone Spin does not have Tusky, and Vote D transforms. All right, so a little bit of damage finds its way onto Cyclone Spin. Vote down to half HP, 0-2 now, though. Luckily, things have slowed down. Paul was on an absolute journey at the beginning of this game. Has Doomorb now, which is surprising. Now is the time where I think Paul starts to really make his way around this map, clears out some farm, gets some Doom Orb stacks, and let's have some fun over on the left. But you know what? I'm happy for Gore, because Habois is like Gore's OG pick, loves this god. And so it's always nice seeing it get a little bit of play.
Yeah, I think the whole reason they drafted this comp, right? They have the Erlong, crazy early aggression. They have the Hebo, which doesn't scream early aggression, but definitely better than Nox early. They double blink because they both did opt to start for the blink. They get first and second blood respectively in that lane. And then Paul can just, you know, ride his magic carpet wherever he wants. You know, he can go try to gank. He did try to gank behind tier 1 tower and left. Then goes over right. Obviously,
a fun moment.
Doesn't work out. Point being, they knew they had the early pressure. They go double blink, despite being against a Nox, which is just insane, by the way, because of how much lockdown and CC she provides. So I think the whole aim of the game was to get early pressure here and then rotate.
Vote holds on to his beads. He's got the purple buff. So to your analysis here, Trelly.
They will find him.
They will find Vote one way or another.
And I think
and they found him minus the stealth as Cyclone Spin drops Tusky on Vote's dome. Luckily across the map for the Oni Warriors, the solo kills have kind of stopped happening. Now it's required a couple team members to rotate over and find some extra kills here. But a 2,000 gold in the lead. Oh, Paul's got a real good opportunity for a massive crushing wave here. Just stick it right around the corner. Blinks over the wall, crushing wave. Oh no, I set it up and it was anything but massive. Misses all the damage, and in fact takes a lot in return. Dardes will walk on away, and how about this fight back from the Oni Warriors? Another kill drops, another kill will drop, and the Oni Warriors getting close to making things even.
I will say that Neil is baiting Paul incredibly well.
Yeah.
Paul was way too deep there because I think he was a little salty about missing that crushing wave. Comes back around, tries to pick it up, does not end up, it gets overhead kicked, which is a complete immunity. And it looks like Neil is opting to go for that mystical mail instead of that Sav, as I mentioned earlier. So just going for some damage here because he obviously has none built. Beautiful trap.
Oh no!
The buff.
Oh no! Cubo Fred is pissed. The hands go up as the buff deals the last bit of damage. That was such a smart read from Cyclone Spin. You could tell how hesitant he was to even step close to the red buff. He knew Cubo was dunking in there somehow. I don't know where Cubo channeled that ult from, or if Cyclone just had the wherewithal to know that was going to happen. But he chilled back. The trap was beautiful. And the red buff on the assist. Dardes dashes forward into SOT here. And you're right, it should be enough lockdown. Or is there as Layers finds the gank. And the solo laner will live to fight another day.
Dardes just throws his hands up in the air. That is a Frostbound Hammer Nemesis already, if you were wondering. SOT is just following you around, slowing you constantly. Dardes comes in, says, don't worry, Nika, I'll help you out here. You're obviously getting slowed to death. And then he's the one that ends up falling, obviously, because Layers makes the counter rotation. So, unfortunate there. 1 and 4 on this Nox pick. Getting off some crazy amounts of damage. Nox does actually favor this sort of double flat pen meta we're in right now. She does incredible amounts of damage as SOT is going to have to do some juking to get away from Nika here.
Yeah, even with a level lead, you don't want to fight up against the Rage form Kokullen. And Nika reminds us as to why. So 3-1 and 3 for Nika. The right side of the map not doing that bad for the Oni Warriors. Whereas mid to left feeling a little bit more rough. And somehow, nearly enough damage from Aurora. Oh, I was for sure walking back in there to get the last bit of damage onto Dardes. But not this time, as the root ends up coming out. But way in behind is Layers, who has Blink. Should be a kill dropping in the mid lane here shortly. Cyclone Spin can't 2v1, not this time. And so luckily for the Oni Warriors, one able to survive, but Dardes does end up dying. So look to chase down Layers, and he'll make his way on out thanks to Paul.
It does seem like the right side of the map does have a decent lead. I believe Cubo is 10 for a bit now. Layers just ticked over. Nika does have the level lead. Your mid lane's a little bit far behind, but besides that, the Oni Warriors are sitting a little pretty. This Morgan pick is just going to get better with time. Not to say the Hebo pick does not, and of course the Artemis, both hyper carries in their own rights. And I have no faith that Layers ever dies to Neil here.
But he might die to
the
Cubo.
sky.
That's right, the dunk down from Cubo Fred makes a whole world of difference. But this is where the Titans can maybe make the Oni Warriors pay. The Titans so grouped up here. Wonder if Cyclone Spin had Tusky there, surely you drop that and get a chain of CC. Oni Warriors now pulling back the gold. Was about 2,000, sub 1,000 now. Just about 800-900 XP getting a little bit closer as well. The Oni Warriors not going down without a fight. Tartarus Titans are going to have to listen to this Gold Fury fall, and that'll bring the gold exactly back to even as the Oni Warriors have found some life.
Yeah, I think Sod has not been able to make a rotation. Obviously, after getting soloed down there, pretty much just has to stay in his lane and collect what little farm he has. I mean, in Cubo's defense, he's been playing this pick very well. Not defense, I should say, in his praise. He's been finding these ults whenever he needs to, diving extremely far to the backline. 4 kills. 3 deaths also, but at this point, Nika is making Paul's life pretty difficult at the moment.
A lot of ultimates going to Nika there, who just transforms, yells, and walks on away. Nox reminding us why it could be a frustrating matchup at times, as Dardes takes a whole lot of initiation there and walks away from it relatively easily. Cyclone's been left alone in lane with Vote here for a little while, and I had wondered if in that style of matchup we might see Cyclone Spin push the envelope a little bit further, but outside of the early deaths for Vote, the scales have remained somewhat even here. Do more, I suppose, for Vote, enough in keeping that mobility up and out of range of Cyclone Spin.
Yeah, it looks like Cyclone is going to have to put some respect on the stealth here. Obviously, a 1v1 would be a little bit spooky. You do have Tusky available, and Vote's beads are still ticking over, so surprised that he would be that aggressive right now. Maybe he just values how much burst he has. The one issue I will say with this matchup, if you do get stunned by Tusky as the Morgan, and then you transform into literally anyone, you do get bonked once again.
You get stunned again?
Yeah,
Oh, no.
it's the flip side of the matchup where if you get Circuit ulted, you actually lose that Circuit ult, or if you get Discordia appled, you lose that apple. In this case, Tusky does actually hit you twice.
Wow, you're a fountain of knowledge here, Charlie. I'm learning so many fun things about the Morgan and why this matchup sucks for, I guess. Paul does not have ultimate just yet. Has dodged out a lot of the damage, crushing waves on out. Watch out for Cubo Fred, though, who will dunk onto Paul and will end up returning the kill. NeilMah down, so is Paul. Oni Warriors probably feeling fine with the trade where we stand, but silenced as he may be, can still auto-attack, and that'll make it a 2-for-1.
This is the benefit of not rotating to those fights. As long as your team can stand on their own 2 legs, you are able to get some farm, rotate once you have those items, and make big plays. But Vote, big stun here. It's going to have the transformation.
Double mez and a double stun. Should be a double kill, right? Surely that's what the Oni Warriors are looking for. Taunt through from layers, healing just a half second away. And the kills right back close to even as far as this trade goes. 2 for 2. I admire the fight back from the Oni Warriors here, despite the way that the early part of this game had gone. 1-6 for Dardes, a forgettable KDA to start. But really, Charlie, it continues to be this right side of the map. Cubo Fred plus Nika, the threat up against the Tartarus Titans.
Yeah, but Sot and Cyclone seem to be taking turns not rotating and just farming up. Obviously, both of them level 14 right now. Nika just ticks over, so the XP definitely looking a little bit in their favor, barring a little bit of the jungle matchup. Obviously, Cuvo has that one. But besides that, I think Sot and Cyclone are saying, hey, once we get late game, we're going to be able to do so much damage on these auto-attack-centric picks. Let's just make sure, I'll rotate to this one, you rotate to the next one. Let's just steal away as much farm as we can. Late game, we're going to be able to pump out a ton of damage. I don't think they're sweating these early fights too much here.
Yeah, I think a 26-kill game, 14 minutes in. Also a pretty good indication of not sweating it too much. And also NeilMah on a Robin and Vote on a Morrigan, things like that. Also pretty good at identifying where the Oni Warriors might be heading into game number 2 here. Vote without the purple buff wasn't spotted out by Cyclone Spin, but here is NeilMah, Mystic Crush. Oh my god, we're throwing everything in the kitchen sink at Cyclone Spin. We haven't even gotten the kill. No shot, right? Cyclone turns it around for a double kill. You better bring more than that if you want to kill off this Artemis. 3 kills. Drop as 3 men try to dive.
Everything but the kitchen sink. They better have brought the kitchen sink next time. Cyclone, luckily, was able to egg us a huge amount of damage there. And, of course, clutch peel from Aurora to make sure that his carry survives. That's just a lot of damage he's outputting. It's very difficult to dive Artemis because once she drops that Clodian Boar, once Tusky starts bonking around, you better have a lot of immunity or a lot of protections because she will be able to at least trade with you as she goes down. She's just an Artemis from ahead at the very least.
Has Aurora fallen off, Trelly? That's the question. I mean, because think about it. Game 1, near 100% kill participation. Game 2, 7 out of 17. I think I've lost my faith in Aurora.
He's washed up.
I'm not sure he can do it anymore, to be honest with you. Game 1 was undeniable proof that he was here to play. questioning his motivation after a sub 50% kill participation game number 2 here. Let's hope that around the Fire Giant he's able to turn things around. Maybe it's the Oni Fury or the Oni Warriors make their stand. It feels like wherever Kivo Fred is dunking in is where the Oni Warriors have a slight chance, but as of late, there's been really good pushback, and I want to see how Cyclone Spin, in like a real true team fight, Trelly, is able to swing with some of these item spikes that he's got. Completed chin size into another bow here shortly. Haven't seen Cyclone in a big team fight just yet. Only some small skirmishes on left.
Yeah, in Aurora's defense, I do think that right now his team is kind of just diving everywhere they can. I mean, they have to try to follow up the global presence from Cuvo, so they're just dashing to these fights wherever they can. Atlas does have a solid little dash ability, but he can't be quite as global as Blink, Doom, or Peebo, those sort of things. So I think he's just not being able to get everywhere he wants to. We're about to see something very flashy come down on, believe, Paul.
Paul avoids the dunk and hits a double knockup and hits the water hands and sets up for the rest of his team. Paul turns around to dive into a double kill. And so if we learned anything, it's that the Oni Warriors, when they try to dive someone, it goes poorly. We learned that on the left side of the map a second ago. We learned that with Paul here just now. You need to stop trying to dive the carries and do something else. I don't know what that something is.
I truthfully can't tell if Cuvo just whiffed or he was trying to predict the wave. But
Yeah.
either way, he pretty much just put him and
the result's
Dardes.
the same, right?
Him and Dardes right in the wave's path. Luckily, Dardes didn't pop out in time, but Paul looking pretty healthy after they put all their eggs in that basket.
Well, remember the highlight for the Oni Warriors in Game 1 was taking away the Fire Giant. And so maybe that's an opportunity here. As Vote is left for dead. Nika is as well. Goodbye. The Cyclone Spin gets the double. Fire Giant over to the Tartarus Titans as we have crested 30 kills here. 34 kills in 17 minutes. We've kept a kill every 30 seconds as a standard pace here. No chance.
Neil doesn't have Blink.
No chance. Thank God. The timing there nearly worked out. Rampage for Cyclone Spin. NeilMah can't believe it that he didn't steal it away. And this game feels all but over now as the Fire Giant confirmed by all 5 members of the Tartarus Titans.
Yeah, if Neil had Mystic Rush, I'd give him a 30% chance. Maybe I'll go down to 20. But with just overhead kick, has to use it to get in there. The onslaught.
Wait, hold on. Rewind. What's a 30% chance?
I'm saying if he had his ult, his CC immune ult that puts him damage immune, and he's able to dive onto that,
right.
I give him a 30% chance to out-confirm Paul.
Okay.
To steal that
I misunderstood.
objective.
I thought you were saying the Oni Warriors had a 30% chance to win the game.
No, I'm saying if Neil has his ult there, he had a 30% chance to steal.
Got it. I'm thinking Oni Warriors, even before the Fire Giant confirmed, had like a 10% chance of winning this game. And we are plummeting as the game goes on because the Titans are just a little bit too far ahead. Tusky nearly confirms the disengage. Nika, though, rampaging. Well-timed. Cyclone Spin! Oh, no! Nearly turns around the damage onto Vote. Layers over the wall he goes and does end up grabbing the kill. But Dardes
Dardes has to come out and
inside
help.
of Nika will end up on out. And a double kill for SOT. And the result ends up being the same here again, Trelly. I think 5%, starting to get closer to 1%.
Yeah, I mean, I was you give them a lot more credit than I was trying to there. Obviously, I was just for the steal.
5% was too much credit.
Well, you gave them, I believe. It doesn't matter. The point
It
is,
does matter, Trelly.
I'm trying to say that I was just really focused on the fire steal. I was analyzing what was in front
You're
of
right,
me.
you're right.
I wasn't jumping the gun here. I'm trying to tell the tale of the possible
That's right.
comeback.
No, you're doing a better job of casting than I was.
It starts. Every journey starts with a single step.
Yep.
If Neil stole that
What is
fire,
that from?
I don't know.
All right, hold on. Good thing I got a phone. You're right though. Every journey starts with a single step. You gotta sow the seeds of possibility.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You gotta hide the fact that the odds of the Oni Warriors winning this game is minimal. Every journey begins with a single step. All right, this is just like a quote. All right, never mind. It's just like I Googled it, and it's just a bunch of inspirational posters that say that. So I don't have a confirmed spot. I think it's just a saying. Unlucky. I thought it was from a movie or something like that, and we're going to have a nice talk about your favorite Disney film, and we could go in that direction. But unfortunately, it seems like it's just a saying, Trelly. Though it is a correct statement, as the Oni Warriors were attempting to take their first step on their comeback journey. But the Tartarus Titans have just about shut that door in their face. 11,000 goals ahead. Gold ahead are the Tartarus Titans. And the Oni Warriors have a little bit of climbing to do to get back into this one.
I guess you could say the Tartarus Titans have made the quick adaptation they needed to, which they didn't need to, but the only adaptation they really could, the only fumble I would argue that they had was that they did let the Oni Warriors go for that Fire Giant, and they said, you know what, we're just going to take it off the table beforehand. Paul blew, oh my goodness, Vote!
Yeah, Vote was just in the wrong place at the wrong time there. Maybe a stealth helps him out. That is 80% of Dardes' health bar on one crushing wave. Paul is absolutely destroying the Oni Warriors here. This one not in question for very long. And the Tartarus Titans will walk on into the base and will put the Oni Warriors down. I don't know if I'll call it quietly. Paul happy that this game ends this way. And we end with a 2-0.
He still does fall there. I think he's a little bit upset about dying, but at the very least, blinking Vote's stun there. Little highlight reel clip for him. I think Paul's pretty happy with how the Hebo buff went through. I think he's happy with how he played this game, and there's a few crushing waves that I think we could have wanted to rewatch in that one.
Charlie, which one's harder to break down? The set we just watched or the ones that we actually broke down between the Scarabs and the Kings earlier on?
I think probably the ones from the Scarabs and the Kings.
You know what's harder to break down?
This one we got first-hand looks. You know, we got to.
That's true.
We got to sit here, analyze it as we were speaking. We can call upon our past. That I do wish them luck at the very least to try to break that one down.
Yeah. God bless the desk and their journey that they're about to embark on, and fingers crossed we get some more fun like that. Tartarus Titans up against the Solar Scarabs tomorrow. The two teams that had like 60+ kill games in both of their matchups. They will be facing off tomorrow in the semifinals. This one ends our day 2-0 to the Tartarus Titans. We'll take a break. When we come back, Desk will break us down.
I got this picture in my closet. It's gathering dust right now, and the edges have been folded once or twice. It doesn't look the same no more, 'cause the sun has made it pale. I used to have it hanging on my wall some time ago. A picture of you, a picture of you.
The Titans take this one 2-0 as they take out the Warriors, move themselves forward to face the Scarabs tomorrow in the semifinals. A couple of best-of-5s that await us over the weekend, Mifflin. My name's Gore, and we're here for the last time to break that one down. And that one, Mifflin, got a little more out of hand a lot quicker, I think is the best way to describe it.
The Tartarus Titans simply won. They're I suppose, I'm staring down like both of these teams right now, so I'm going to speak completely candidly. The Tartarus Titans are just the better team. That's all it was. The only Warriors will never stand a chance. They don't have the same top end, and they've got a worse bottom end. Send tweets.
I think they stopped listening. They're giggling over there.
Yeah, dude. I'm trying to spread negativity and hatred, and they're having fun with the birthday cake.
And
man.
they're enjoying themselves.
Yeah,
How dare they?
This is awful. I can't even Grinch them.
Dave, pop the balloon with your hands.
Dave, pop the balloon with your hands.
No one's going to do it.
No,
Either way,
bring the camera back. He's going to do the thing.
Is he going to do the thing? Mike's not over there. No one's going to do the thing. Either way,
Oh my God.
What? That was a good joke. Come on.
It was.
I fit it in naturally, too. Titans end up winning this one. A lot of their stat lines look really good. I'm trying to keep it on par, but they're having a lot of fun, and it sounds like
Dude,
a lot of fun.
I want to go have fun. Can we just do the interview?
There's balloons behind you. Pick them up.
Yeah,
throw them in the air.
Here's peek behind the curtain. This cord's not super long. I can't walk with it.
No, you do the like weird waddle where like it dangles your head closer to it. Yeah. No, we're gonna be talking to him for a little bit after this, and this is where things get interesting, Mifflin. Again, you know, I'm looking at the weekend as a whole at this point.
Like the artist?
Not just the literal weekend. That's
the
gonna be going on.
concept.
Good news for you is I don't need to talk to you anymore. Instead, we'll talk to Paul. Paul just got a win on that one. So
Woo!
Paul,
Dude, what's
first
up?
and foremost, I guess congratulations. You're gonna be moving to the semifinals.
Thank you.
Yeah, semifinals tomorrow. I just want to know, like, coming into this, a lot of your team was talking about how you were taking this kind of like scrims plus, right? Like not quite full SBL, but you wanted to come in and treat it like that. Do you feel like you learned anything?
No, I did not learn anything. That was really troll. Yeah, maybe I got worse. I don't know, dude. It was just really troll. I don't know, man. They're focusing me, man.
Did you have fun? That's what. Well, you just said you were getting focused, so I'm gonna assume the answer is no.
They were focusing me, man. Dude, they killed me through the timeline, bro. I got the alternate timeline game 1. Just killed me twice, bro.
Oh, they're having so much fun.
I can't believe they would. Why would they do such a thing? Anyway, tomorrow you're going to be going up against the Scarabs. I know that's a set that's going to be interesting because it feels like you're both going to be approaching it with the same mentality, right? The Scarabs have like a hunger, especially after last year. They had a lot of like roster changes. You guys are still looking at this as really good practice. It's a best of 5. Does that change the way that you're going to be coming into the set?
Oh, it's a best of 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make it a little longer.
Yeah, I think they want to win a bit more, so I think it'll probably be a better set to watch. I mean, depends if you like to watch trolling or not. So
it's like a coin flip, right? Like there's a certain point where like a good movie, sometimes like you want something that's going to be thought-provoking and make you leave like thinking, well, you know, about life, I guess. And sometimes you want to turn your brain off and say, look, explosion fun. That was explosion fun for you guys.
Definitely.
You know, I want to talk to you about, you know, like the Morgan came through. We got to see some Habwas, and Habwa specifically because he got a nice little, like, small buff, but it feels like it could be massive. Is that enough to bring him back?
I wouldn't call that a small buff. I mean, you literally can walk during his 3 now, bro.
Does feel pretty good.
That's pretty big, man. So I would think he got a huge buff, and I think, he's going to be more popular now. I'm not sure about mid lane.
Yeah.
But because with the buff, they also nerfed the 3 a bit of the damage. So kind of lame for clearing archers. But, a lot better in jungle.
Well, awesome, man. I'm excited to see it, especially like whether he's jungle or if we just get the Paul Hebo back. I'm excited for that. Either way, congratulations again. I'm sure you guys are going to celebrate and then come back tomorrow and play some more Smites.
Okay.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
All right, Mifflin, you have just been staring at them the whole time.
Dude, they're having so
Did you
much
hear a
fun.
single word Paul said?
Something about explosions.
That was me.
Yeah.
I said the explosion.
Oh, now
thing.
Paul's having fun. He put on a birthday cap, dude. Oh, my
And it fell off his head.
Oh,
this is great. Again, good radio,
good
man.
radio here.
There's someone out there who's playing a game. We're on the second monitor. They're just listening, trying to catch up, get some informative Smite knowledge, and they're hearing us describe a hat falling off of Paul. Either way, we can look at the bracket. Again, you've been hearing me talk about it a good bit.
What a big bracket.
Leviathans and the Dragons. First match tomorrow, 11 a.m. Best of 5. So you want to make sure that you tune in for that one a little bit later in the day once they finish Scarabs taking on the Titans. Another fun one that's going to be kicking off for us, or closing out the day for us. And then Sunday, you'll get a third place match. So whoever loses tomorrow will still be playing on Sunday to see who's going to get third. And of course, then the finals will close things out for us this weekend and give us the final kickoff before we start phase 1 of the SBL, Mifflin.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Get a look at tomorrow's schedule.
Yeah, at least
because,
sound serious.
Dude,
You sounded dead inside, man.
It's like 8:30.
But it's the first day.
It sure is. Of season 9 even.
Yeah.
Bro,
all right.
They're literally eating cake, bro, and I'm.
You could say they
sitting
have
here.
their cake and they're eating it too, because
Well, you can't have the cake and eat it. That's literally impossible.
What do you mean? You have to have the cake in order to eat it.
Yeah, but you can't have cake and eat it.
Why not? What do you mean? What does that mean?
Because once you eat it, you no longer have it.
That's not true. I have it. It's still in my stomach.
You don't. All right, give it to me then.
We'll go. Like, if you want to go down that path, we can go down that path. But not on broadcast, because that's not great here. Anyway, it's Smite's birthday. We're all in a jovial mood. And, of course, we've got a whole bunch of people sitting around the cake. So we got to at least go celebrate one more time. We got to talk about it. We got to look at them. Look at how happy they are. Happy birthday, Smite. Oh, no!
Camera, pan up.
Oh, no.
Pan up, camera.
Mike, get where the balloons are.
Lewis, pull the string.
Pull better. Guys, there's supposed to be balloons.
Oh, hold on. Oh,
Yay!
Charlie with a big save.
All right, that's day 1 of Season 9 in the books. Everybody, we'll see you tomorrow for the semifinals.